Very good morning. I'm Lalita here, and this is Joshua with me. Uh, Hope you will enjoy this program. Just sit down, relax, and see how we are going to grow your own edible garden, greens in your house. Okay? I'm a bit excited to do this sharing. Okay? Um, First thing first, many of us want to do gardening these days. And what we are doing now is we don't know where to start. And this is where we are coming in to share with you how to start your home gardens, okay? Most important thing when we want to decide to go gardening, what we do, we will go and buy all different kind of tools, most interesting things. We will go shopping, our favorite activity. We'll go and buy tools, and you can choose not to buy them. You can use what is found in your house as tools, okay? To start it very easy. Do not waste too much of money on it. You can buy something, use your fork and spoon, even knife, whatever is found in your kitchen as your gardening tool. The next thing that we love to buy is the planter boxes or pots, very fanciful ones. But I advise you, this is just a new journey. Do not spend too much money yet. You don't know how long you're going to sustain this passion. So start it with recyclable containers like a bottle, any bottle. If you have an idea how to cut, be creative, you can make it as your family activity for family bonding, actually. You can design your own planter boxes. You can become more creative. You can even use tubs like ice cream tubs. Just make a couple of holes at the bottom so that the water will drain. Okay? It can be any face mask, any kind of containers that's lying down in your house that you intend to throw away. Or you have the tapao box that you always buy food, right? And lots of plastic being collected and throwing. So you can use it a couple more times and do something good for the environment as well. So these are little tips that you can follow, not just to start your garden, but also to protect our environment and reduce waste. Okay. The other thing, the most important thing is, where are we going to start our garden? Not every one of us here today is fortunate to have a backyard garden. Okay, our land, most of us are not living in landed property, so we don't have a backyard garden. So the next best place is your balcony or the corridor. Okay, you have to choose. And now we have more choice like the rooftop gardens. And also offices are allowing to have set up gardens in their office. So which place are you going to start your garden? This is something very interesting, right? To decide, to make your mind where you want to start your garden, where you can attend to your little babies, your plants daily without traveling much. So it doesn't become a chore. So decide first on that. And I'm sure most of you here will decide maybe the balcony or the corridor. If you are doing that, then the next important thing that you have to look into is, plants need sunlight. So sunlight plays a very important role. And I know some of you here, I can hear that you're saying, oh, LED light, we can use LED light. Yes, you can. I'm not denying that. But sunlight is free. So see how much of sunlight does your corridor gives every day. 3 to 4 hours, you're very lucky. 1 to 2 hours, not too bad. If you don't have sunlight, then we have to decide what kind of plant we need to plant. So you have to look out for it. Different time of the day. Sometimes you get morning light, a couple of hours. Sometimes the noon light, afternoon, and then in the evening. So depends where's the location of your house. So you have to observe the sunlight movement in your corridor or balcony carefully before you start your mission. Or the other way is also to just look out your neighbors. If they are planting in the corridor and the plants are growing well, which means you're also getting good sunlight, right? So that's one other shortcut to just see if you're getting enough sunlight. The other thing that you need to do is different time of the year. Sometimes January you're planting in this direction, it's growing very well, but somewhere towards August, it's not growing so much, is because your plant is not getting enough sunlight and there's too much of shade there as the sun is rotating. You know, the earth is rotating, not the sun, it's the earth that's rotating, and you are not getting enough sunlight. So you need to be a bit more mindful of your surrounding, your environment. Okay, so that's one area that is very, very important about sunlight. But of course, today we have other options that you can also use a LED light. But let us skip it to the end. So another thing that's most important is planting medium. What are we going to use? Some people say hydroponic. Yes, I love hydroponic. Yes, it's good. Water becomes your medium. But if you are going to grow something soil-based, then you have to look into few factors. If you go walk into a nursery, you can see so many varieties of packages of planting medium. It can be baked clay, it can be a topsoil package, it can be a clay itself, it can be, topsoil, can be sand, cocoa peat, all of this, forest peat. But if you see forest peat, try not to buy forest peat because it is actually digging up the peat from the forest bed. That's not too good for the environment. So avoid that. And topsoil. Yes, topsoil, you can purchase them. When I say topsoil, it does not mean you quickly run down and then go and dig out some soil from under any tree or, any place that's open. You can see some soil there, you just dig it out. Please don't do that. Though it is free, but you might bring home some bacteria that you don't want to invite into your house. Don't do that. And furthermore, you don't know how much of the cats have went there to pee or poo, or the dog. So we don't want any of this. So purchase some good topsoil from the nursery, reliable sources. Okay. Then the other is clay. Actually, we don't need clay unless you know how to amend the soil, mix it together, amendments. So for beginners, try not to buy clay and then start mixing it. Burnt soil, yes, you can use them. So very easy one is you go walk into the nursery and you will see packets like this that has potting mix already mixed well with fertilizers and right amount of fiber, sand. All these are in right proportion, so you can really start growing your vegetables or whatever plants you intend to grow without much difficulties, because the drainage will be good. Okay, and that's the safest and the easiest way for beginners. You can walk around the nursery and see as many. So it's so many kind of varieties you can find. I'm not promoting any particular brand here, but just walk around and choose what you wish to buy, but potting mix. Okay? Then the next other thing that you have to look into is, wait. What kind of plant are you intending to grow? Are you planning to grow herb garden, especially culinary herbs like basil, or spring onions, and many other type of culinary herbs you can grow at home quite easily actually? Or are you intending to plant vegetables like fruiting vegetables, lady's finger, chili? Everybody say, I want to plant chili, I want to plant lady's finger or string beans or anything like that. You can plant this in your corridors or balcony as well. Then you have to choose whether you want to plant um, beside culinary herbs, fruiting vegetable or leafy vegetable. That's much easier to grow and you don't have to wait too long. There's 3 different stages of growing this. You can just sprout the seeds and eat them. That's one very beginning, 2 to 3 days, and you can just eat them simply. That's the sprouting part of it. Then you have the microgreen part of it that you wait for about 7 to 10 days and then you can eat them. The other common one that we are going to talk about here today is to grow them and wait for about 2 to 3 weeks and you can harvest. And when you are growing your own vegetable, you have the freedom to harvest the amount you need. So there is no food wastage. It's more sustainable. Even if you grow a few pots, that's enough for your family. Okay, you can also grow vegetables at home like this and harvest just the leaf part of it. Just the leaves will do for the amount you need. Okay. Ornamental, of course, if you say, I don't want to grow vegetable, I don't want to grow any of this, but I love to have some ornamental, go ahead. There are simple plants that you can do with, from cactus to money plant. You can grow them very easily at home. Okay. So you know what you want to grow, you know where to grow, and you know how to grow. But before that, how much water do all these plants need? In most gardening journey, the beginners, what we tend to do is we tend to love our plants just like how we love our pets. We tend to overfeed them so that too much of anything will actually kill them. Just like imagine you having brought home a tank of fish for your child as a gift. And then this child that walks in and out of the living room will start feeding the fish just to watch how the fish eats the food. And within a week or less than a week, this fish will die because it's overfed, not because it's hungry. Same thing happens when we start taking care of our plants. We tend to overwater it. Overwatering is the major problem why plants die at home. Is we will water. When we see today is very hot. Yes, when we walk out, it's hot. But in the corridor or in your balcony, it's not as hot. But you will tend to water it 3 or 4 times. Then naturally, it will die. And if your soil is not good, this is why the well-drained soil is important, because if there is waterlogging and the roots can't grow well, there's too much of clay, then this too much of water will actually cause root rotting. And then fungus will start growing and this plant naturally will die. So watering your plant is very, very important. And you must water it at a scheduled time, right time. If you intend to water your plants 7 o'clock in the morning, then do it every day so that your plant is ready to receive. Just like our body, our metabolism. If you eat your lunch at 12, then we have to follow that. Otherwise, your body fails to. If you're changing the time, the body fails to absorb, it will start storing up. Just so we don't want that to happen to the plants. So have a schedule, plant at the right time every day, the same time. So in our climate, on most hot days, it's good to water your plants in the morning and towards the evening before your sunset. Because after sunset, when the soil is moist, what happens? It also promotes all this bacteria growth. That also causes bacteria growth in the potting mix and also create other kind of problem, and your plant can die easily. So have a schedule, water it while the sun is there, and watch out. During rainy season, you don't have to water. And the easiest way is always to insert your finger into the soil and check. Superficially, it might look a bit dry, the top layer, but inside it will be damp. If it is moist inside, then you don't have to actually water the plant. So that is very, very important in regards to water. Then another important thing is plants need not only sunlight, not only water, they also need food just like us. And what kind of food can I give my plant? What kind of food can I give my plant? So NPK, yes, you can go to the nurseries and buy plant fertilizers. There are very different varieties, different brands you can use. Some are chemical-based, some are organic. You can choose and buy them. I'm not going to promote any particular brand here, but you can go to the nursery and get them according to your budget. There are different prices to that. You do sometimes even get liquid fertilizers and also the solid ones. The natural ones, of course, the chicken poo and goat dung and stuff like that, even cow dung. They are the natural one. But other ways of getting this fertilizer is also homemade compost from all your kitchen waste. You can develop another skill of making your compost and reducing your kitchen waste that's going into the landfill. That's an interesting topic on its own. But if you are aware, if you have picked up the skill, then use them to feed your plants with this natural thing that you don't have to pay or don't have to spend much money for this this hobby, this passion of yours that you're picking up. Okay. I do see many questions are coming up. Keep sending your questions. We will answer at the end of the program. We will answer your questions. And also for others who are here watching, just kindly submit your QR code for per household. NParks with the NParks and CPF board, we are going to send you seeds for every household, that the first 100 household, I should say. Okay, submit that, your submission as well. Okay, so like I told you, organic fertilizer, you can get it naturally, you can make them at home, or you can purchase them. Chemical, of course, you can purchase them easily. Which is better? That depends on your needs, how much you want to consume, and how much conscious are you about the environment, all matters. Sometimes using chemical fertilizer will give a quick boost to your plants, but eventually, if you don't supply them regularly, then the plants will not grow too well. But the natural way is it will sustain. You give a little bit and it will grow. It will not produce so much, but it will produce good quality leafy vegetable. So that's one little tip. You can homemade fertilizer, as I told you. One simple tip for homemade fertilizer is you can soak onion peels in water and then water your plants. That makes good fertilizer. Even banana peels, cut them into small pieces and then soak them in a bottle of water. And if you want your chili plant to fruit or your brinjal plant to fruit, then this potassium in this banana peels actually promotes blooming of flowers. You can feed your plants with banana peel water or onion peel. These things do help to a certain extent. You can experiment them at home with your children, with your grandchildren. It's a good science experiment, I should say, so that you can do it at home and enjoy this activity. Gardening is not just about planting seed and watch them grow, but it's more than that. It's a lot of life science involved in it. Okay. So, most important, when we are planting, when we start to garden, we need to be patient. That's the most important quality that we need to have. We can't plant today and see result immediately in the next couple of days. For some seeds, we need to wait for them to grow, for them to sprout, from there to become microgreens and then to grow into young plants. It takes time. You can't hurry nature. You can't put it in the fast forward mode like I can do with my remote. I can't do that. You have to wait. You have to be patient. So this is it's a good virtue that we can develop for ourselves and also for the young ones that's in our care. Okay. So gardening is fun. It is really, really fun. If you know how to do it, take small steps. Do not go and start growing carrots, strawberry. I know many of you say, I want to grow strawberry in my room. Yes, some people have done it in Singapore, but that took them a lot of time and lot of experiments before they succeeded in it. So you need to be patient. You can go and grow beetroot or carrots, anything you want, but first start it small with small common plants that I'm going to show you now. So we can start with native plants. What I recommend y'all is grow with native plants. Native plants like Suriname spinach, which is very common, was common, not is, was common in the past. People used to cook this, whether it is Chinese community or Malay community or the Indian community, all of them had different way of cooking the same vegetable. Actually, I like to say a garden unites people, same plant, different people, different community use it for the different purposes. So this vegetable is a very nice vegetable, very rich in nutrient. You can grow them, and it is a perennial plant that gives throughout the year. You cut them and they will grow. You cut them and they will grow. So every other week, you will have vegetable growing. And if you have several pots of this, you can sustain growing your own greens and reaching the government's 30-30 target. This is one plant that I will seriously recommend. Another plant is that you can grow is this, Brazilian spinach. Brazilian spinach, you can add them to soups. Very easy to grow. I'll show you how to grow them. It's so easy to grow. You can add them to your soup. When you stir fry, you can stir fry them. If you are Indian, normally you like to stir fry them with coconut. Yes, you can do that. You can add them to your dal curry. You can add them to soup or any sayo lode. You can just add them in. And it tastes good, it's nutritional, and it's easy to grow. So this is another thing that you will 100% succeed in growing. Okay, you want to start something and you want to be successful, grow these two vegetables at home. And another very interesting one is the sweet potato. Sweet potato leaves, you don't see it, all the leaves here. I just brought the stems so that we can show you how to plant them. Normally, before we plant the sweet potato leaves, the stem, we will remove the leaves. The plant will focus on growing its shoots and roots, first roots and shoots, and not to sustain the leaves. Okay, so that's why we remove the leaves and we grow sweet potato. It also acts like a nice green in the house. Though you might not be able to harvest sweet potatoes, but sweet potato leaves are good green vegetables that you can consume in your house. Just like your sambal kangkong, you can also cook your sweet potatoes, adding it to your soups and stir frying them, or even adding it to your noodles, instant noodles and all that. You want a green, you can add them. Okay, so those are all very easy way of growing vegetables. Then if you don't want to fail at all, you really don't want to fail, you want to pass. The first attempt I passed. Try this spring onion. Just soak 1 or 2 days. 1 day will do. Soak your little onion shallots, and then you will see some tiny roots coming out at the bottom, tiny roots. This one, actually, I pulled it out from a pot this morning just to show you all. So this is 7 days old spring onion, 7 days old, that I grew in my house. So you can grow spring onions like this. You will succeed. And you just cut what you need to make your omelets or whatever, noodles, instant noodles, whatever you're cooking, fried rice, you can use them. And, a great joy when you harvest your own vegetable and add them to your food. It makes you so happy. So you can grow spring onions as well if you consume them. Okay, now I will just show with Joshua helping how to plant small plants like sweet basils. You all like sweet basil, I know. We need sweet basil, everybody is so excited. Yes, it's one of the very famous culinary herb. If you are using sweet basil, you can do stem cutting, remove most of the leaves and put them into a bottle of water. And not directly, when you're getting this water to put your stems in to grow the roots, don't take the water from the tap directly, because that water has got chlorine. So if you intend to grow something for rooting purposes, then just use water that is, fetch a bucket of water and keep them 24 hours out. So chlorine actually evaporates in the air, and then use that water, not directly from the tap. That actually makes a difference. I noticed that. So you can do that. So you can use this, stem cutting method, or basil produces a lot of seeds. You can also collect seeds. For seeds especially, let me tell you, you can go to any community garden and ask the people there for stem cuttings and seeds. We are really, really happy to see you grow. Not just your plants, see you grow as a gardener. We are very happy. We are willing to share what we have. That's the CIB community in Bloom's passion, in fact. We love to share our seeds and plants. So you can approach any. If you can't and if you don't have any community garden in your vicinity, then you can approach NParks. They too can guide you. Otherwise, go to the nearest nursery and you can get some seeds. So you can approach us. That's one thing that I wish to share here. Then growing seeds, like I said, it's a journey itself to see the seeds growing. And sometimes you might not succeed for several reasons. The seeds in the packet that we buy sometimes is too old. Okay, too old. And then when you start growing them, these seeds also have shelf life. Okay, if the cells inside doesn't grow, then you can't grow the seeds. you will fail. It does not mean you don't have the skill. The seeds are too old. If you want to keep your seeds safe, you don't just expose them with too much of heat, too much of moist. You can store them in a Ziploc bag in your refrigerator where you refrigerate your vegetables, not in the freezer. Do not put it in the freezer, like freezing stem cell and all that, not like that. Just the seed in the refrigerator will do. You can store them. And then do not expose them to too much sunlight. That sometimes we do. We will just throw them anywhere, keep them outside, and they are exposed to the climate, the heat especially, and then it might not grow. So if your seeds are not growing, kindly check the seeds. It's not that one particular batch, maybe the whole lot might not grow, the whole bag that might not grow. Because I have failed like that a couple of times when I bought the seed and then I thought of saving them. I saved them for too long that it never grew after that. Okay, so that's a lesson learned, but I'm sharing so that you don't make the same mistakes. So besides seeds is stem cutting, like I told you, stem cuttings are very interesting. You can share. Most beautiful thing in stem cutting plants, whether it's sweet potato, whether it's Suriname spinach, kangkong, all these you can share with your neighbors, anybody. The minute you start cutting, it will grow more. It is like, the word you say, the more you give, the more you receive. Really, these plants teach me this lesson. Actually, I always like to say, nature my teacher. I learn a lot from plants directly by the way they live. The more you give, the more you receive. These plants do that. So you can start cutting and giving. So don't worry if you have to give, your friends come and ask you, hey, you have nice mint. Mint is another stem cutting plant. You can cut it and then grow the roots in the water and plant them, or directly put them onto the soil. But mint, the more you cut, the more you prune, it will flourish. It will start growing so much that you can't consume, too much. So start growing, start sharing, and it will grow more. Okay, that's my belief. Okay, so now Joshua is going to show you how we can just use a container and plant some of these plants. Is simply how. Okay. So hygiene is very important. Take care of yourself. Though touching the soil gives you a lot of happiness when you touch all these little microorganisms in the soil, but in today's situation, I do not encourage you to do that directly unless you know your soil too well. Okay? Otherwise, hygiene, pay a lot of attention to the hygiene, to the tools, the hygiene of the tools, hygiene of yourself. Okay? So now he's going to pour in the potting mix into the pot. So one pot, you must just understand how big is your pot and how much soil you have. And do not be too ambitious to go and get very big pot and then you don't have much sufficient potting mix in your in hand. So like here we have a 1 kg and then that's just nice for this container and you can start planting. So now we need to apply some water to make sure that the medium is soft. You can pour water at home, but here we are not doing that because we might mess up the space. So we are not doing that. We are not pouring the water. We are just going to be gentle. Okay, very gracious. We are just going to spray. Okay, this just okay. So that much of water is not sufficient because it will not go right inside. It is superficial. But at home, you need to check, insert your finger and check whether bottom is moist or not. Not drown, not like going to make what you call chocolate cookie, not like that. You don't have to make it into a dough, but it has to be crumbled. Okay? Okay, for those who know how to bake, you will understand. Not like the dough that you make, but like you're making some pastries crumbled. Okay, just that consistency, and then you can take the stem that you want to plant. I talked to you about seeds. You can get any seeds from the community garden you can share. But how deep you need to plant the seed, it's very, very important. If I have a seed that is only the size of a pea, okay, I'm just showing a very tiny little seed, that is the long bean seed. Now, how deep do I need to plant? Can I put it 3 inches deep? No. If you put it 3 inches deep, they will not come out too much for them. They need too much of energy to sprout. So the law is you plant the seed as deep as the seed. If it is, see how many milli or whatever measurement you want to have, just press the seed to the soil, and if it goes right, it's enough. You don't have to plant them very deep. Only when you're planting durian seed or jackfruit seed, even that, you can only plant them maybe 3 inches, 2 inches, that's all. You plant them deeper, they will not be able to grow. So for seeds, yes, this kind of condition, and you plant the seeds and just have a law of thumb that you just space them out like 6 inches is good, so that you don't have to repot them. You can simply, every plant will have its social distancing. Okay, so we need to give them the kind of distancing so that they have space to grow. Like, people normally talk, right? Give me the space. Yes, the plants do need space to grow. So don't plant them too close. If you intend to plant them to become big and to fruit, flower, yes, you don't grow them too close by. Okay. The next is you can have the root. This root, you can grow any like ginger. How many of you love ginger? I'm sure so many of you love the flavor, the aroma. So ginger, this is turmeric. You can grow ginger or turmeric also in small pots like what we have. This is just to begin. Then you can transplant them to bigger pots like this. But you can begin with small pot and then transplant them to bigger pots. But you can grow. So when you go to market, you just watch out. How is there nice fresh shoot coming out? Sometimes you see ginger with shoots coming out, and then we normally don't buy them, right? Oh, they are all shooting. Never mind. Buy them. Maybe they are cheaper. Buy them and then bring and plant them. So you will get good harvest. Ginger, I just assure you, if you are planting in pots like this, you do get good harvest for ginger and turmeric. You can plant your own roots, one other method. And then now Joshua is going to show how to plant the spinach. Remove the leaves, like all the small leaves. Yes, you can cut them, but if you're gentle enough, you can also just pluck off the leaf. Depends how experienced you are. Look at Joshua. He is a very experienced young man. He knows how to deal with the plants gently. So remove as much leaf as possible, because the focus is not to sustain the leaf that's existing, but to grow new shoots and the roots. So in that way, you are helping the plant. Otherwise, it is too burdensome for the plant. It has to take care of the family. It has to take care of the growth, the development, education, everything. No, we don't want to give too much of stress for the plant. So we will let them grow. It's just like us, right? So give it a very little stress so it can grow well. Yes. Yes. Now you can plant them. You will see there is a nodule. This nodule here. Everywhere there is a nodule. Where there's a shoot, there is a nodule. So this is so easy that you can insert them into the soil. So insert does not mean go and put the whole thing into the soil deep inside. No need. Superficially, maybe about 1 cm will do. 1 cm is just sufficient. You don't have to let the whole thing go inside. So this, you can, in this kind of pot, you can plant maybe about 3 or 4, and they will grow so well. Within 2 weeks, I can assure you that you can harvest this Brazilian spinach. If I give it a local name, I know we don't like kangkung. When we say all the local name, we don't like. We like Brussels sprouts. We like broccoli. We like all the foreign things, right? So that's why maybe someone has named it Brazilian spinach, so that you will love them. Okay, try this Brazilian spinach. They are very nice. You can add them to your salads. Okay? And the same way, you can also grow the Suriname spinach. Yeah, Suriname spinach, the leaf. Don't worry, though the leaves are some say looks a bit slimy, but actually not lah. You add it to your soups, they are not slimy. Then you can cook them with anything that you want. Your creativity, you can invent what you want with these leaves. Whether it's salad, whether it's a curry, whether it's a lode, all of this, you can still do it. And you can plant them very, very easily. So now you see how gently he's doing it. Do it and get young people involved. So, and you come on. So, okay, now, Joshua, you can plant them. Yes. Yay. So planting is not just an activity you do monotonously. You have to do it with a lot of passion. Like I tell all the children who come to my garden, whenever we grow something, we say, grow well. Grow well. This is not just the plant's growth, it's also our emotional growth for our wellness. So let us watch the plant grow, gently grow them gently. It's not a rushing thing. It's not a competition. We have to grow it, watch them grow gently. Okay, then. So that's basically about growing. Okay, gardening is fun, as I say, if you are ready to fail. Only if you're ready to fail. If you want to succeed all the time, then this might not be the game. Then. So, as the garden grows, so shall the gardeners. Okay? Now, before I say happy growing, then we will come to the question and answer session. Okay, seed spec registered slides. Okay, so remember to send in your submission for the seed packs. Okay, I can see the questions. Is neem oil okay to be used on the soil for edible plants? Yes, for any plants, but the quantity, you must be mindful about how much you are going to use. Like I said, too much of anything is bad, and this is oil. Not necessarily, because for the soil, I would recommend you use neem cake. You can buy in the nursery, use neem cake instead of neem oil. Neem oil more for leaves. If soil, I would recommend neem cake. Then during a rainy season, ants tend to appear in my soil. Why is that so? Do we need to get rid of the ants or leave it as part of the ecosystem? Okay, I like your thought. Yes, part of the ecosystem, but remember, if the soil was not moist, on hot day, if it is too dry with lot of natural fiber in it, like the compost and all that, then when the ants feel too hot outside, they go and hide under your pots. That's why we get ants under or inside the pot. And if you're constantly watering and you are actually digging your soil, ants don't come and stay there long. They don't like to come if their nest is being disturbed. So only if the untouched ones, you ignore your pot. If there are ants, that means you have ignored the pot for a week or so. So try not to ignore your pots. Look into them just like how you would attend to your children every day, so that you don't have ants. Leave them alone. Don't kill them. My plants have white specks, spots on its leaves. What does this mean? The plant's sick. Yes, they are infected with some mealybugs. They are sick, not they are sick. Some pest came and, trying to come and suck up the sap in your plant. So either you prune it off and remove the part that is infected and throw them into the bin properly, clean the scissors that you have used to clip off your plant, and then wash them, sterilize them before you use the same tool on other plants. You have this kind of the simple thing that you can use for this white mealybug in your plant is you just get some garlic, maybe 1 big clove of garlic, 2 tablespoons of cooking oil, any cooking oil, and maybe 10 pieces of chili padi, and 1 tablespoon of, I use soap nut, but you can use any washing detergent, and then blend them together, filter them, the liquid, and spray to your plants. So the reason why I use soap nut is because I don't want this soap. I don't know what is it made of. So I don't want to spray them to the plant and the soil. So I use soap nut. If you can get soap nut, use soap nut. And then you can spray this to your plant. So what happens is the soap will stick on to your leaf. And this will not allow this mealybug to come and attack your plant. And with this chili and garlic, that will burn them down. So that's one other natural way. What type of water is good? Of course, the natural water, the pond water, river water, and all that, but I can't say that here. But if you are intending, you can collect rainwater wherever possible and then use it for your plants, or get water from the tap and then keep them aside for maybe 24 hours before watering your plant. That's also good enough for watering your plants. And last, for chicine and broccoli microgreen, will it regrow after harvesting? Okay, there are only about 2-3 plants that I see that will regrow as microgreens. That is the snow pea maple leaf that grows. You can have 2 or 3 harvests. Snow pea, and what else? There's wheatgrass. They grow and you can have 2 or 3 harvests, but not as good as the first harvest. Be prepared to get less harvest in the second and third attempt. But chicine and broccoli, no, definitely not, even beetroot, because microgreen, as the word states, they are actually very tiny plants, very tiny. Not even, they only have the first 2 leaves, so fragile. How can they regrow? They can't. So this will not regrow at all. So growing chicine, mustard, broccoli, all of this, even beetroot, then just best is to harvest them, the single harvest. It's only good for single harvest. But they grow very pretty fast within about 7 to 10 days. You can harvest them and you can redo them. Minimum sunlight actually if there was another session I would like to share just on microgreen itself. It is such a beautiful thing to do with all the limitation of whatever limitation we have on knowledge about plants, whatever limitation we have on sunlight, and we have limitation of time and space. That's the main thing that we face in Singapore. For all of these people, microgreen is ideal thing, attempt to do growing plants at home. To grow your own vegetable, this is the best. So with this, I would like to thank all of you for sitting down and listening to this session patiently. Thank you very much. Yes. And Joshua? Yeah. Thank you.